Is that us? What? 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 Is he pregnant? What?
I've had a lot of people ask us, what is it like homesteading while pregnant?
So don't worry, we've been recording video and we've been saving it.
This week I am 5.5 weeks. I feel really crummy and tired all of the time. So what are my tips? Just, it will pass.
Tell us, where are we in the stream of things?
You're 9 weeks pregnant now.
9 weeks? This week? The baby is the size of a grape. I like to think of it more like a Sour Patch Kid. Not a big fan of grapes. I've been feeling, let's see, this is a different pregnancy for me than all the other ones. I'm an older man, a wiser man, might I say. So I've been enjoying it.
I feel pretty crappy all the time. Definitely have bad morning sickness in the first trimester. And so I haven't been on a video in like 2 weeks. Because I've been basically laying on the couch or in bed all day. So that stinks.
This is the first pregnancy where I didn't have to do any client work. I've been home working just for my own business. So I am super flexible, which means I can just kind of, if Kay needs me to make breakfast for her, I can make breakfast. If she needs me to, you know, take the kids out and do something with them or go pick up dinner, because I can't really make dinner because I'm just awful in the kitchen. I just am being very flexible and doing whatever she needs.
The way I explain it to Austin is, imagine if you have a really bad flu all day long for weeks. And you're puking and just constantly feel nauseous. That's what morning sickness is like. It's not just morning, it's all day.
How does that affect your farm work?
What farm work? I haven't done anything. Thankfully Luna's still on ladybugs, so she's keeping her milked out for me. Other than that, I don't think I was outside in 3 days until today. Thankfully, I have a very supportive husband who's picking up all the slack and hasn't complained at all, which is a first.
Only took how many kids to figure it out?
Number 5. Is it as bad as you remember it?
It's as bad as I remember it. I knew it would be. I think for the sake of procreating and filling the earth, somehow women well, at least Kay seems to forget what it's like. But I always have vivid memories of what the first trimester all the way through labor are like. And yes, this is exactly as I remember. But this time I was determined to be a really good husband and just be super supportive and do whatever it took so that at the end of this she would look back and say, "You were great, honey." And so I'm just trying to do that as best I can.
The baby's the size of a grape. Baby starts looking like a little person now. We told the kids this week because we heard the heartbeat, and so we were waiting to hear the heartbeat or to see an ultrasound before we told the kids. Kids had some ideas for names. They're really on this if it's twins idea, which it's not, but the name ideas so far have been, if it's twins, PB and J. So kind of glad it's not twins.
As far as the barn work goes, my oldest two help a lot with it now, so it's not all on me. It used to fall all on me, and at the same time that it fell all on me, I had a full-time job, and I felt overloaded, and I, you know, back then as a younger, stupider man, I would get kind of mad about it. But now I'm just, whatever I need to do in the barn, if she needs me to do something with the cows. We have stopped milking because we're not equipped for me to milk right now. I'm not a hand milker, it's not my thing. I would definitely machine milk if we weren't in hunting season. Right now, a lot of early mornings I'm out in a tree. I'm not here to milk a cow, and hunting season only comes for a couple months out of the year, so I'm not going to give up hunting season to milk the cows. Unfortunately, we have Luna right now taking care of Ladybug. So yeah, that's worked out pretty good. And it doesn't hurt that hunting season is here. It gives me a little bit of time to be off and do my thing while everyone's asleep. And then when everyone's awake, I can be home and be helpful.
So before this happened, we were trying to get pregnant, and I knew I would get morning sickness. So I was starting to put some meals away, and I ended up being able to make 2 meals. I made a chicken pot pie and froze it, so we ate that. Made some sloppy joes. We're gonna eat that today. That's about it. So lots of frozen pizza, lots of soup that my mom has made and sent here, which has been really nice. That is a nice thing. This is the first trimester I've had my mom so close. It's nice she's been able to help with a lot of the food and watch the kids for us when I've been really sick.
Advice.
Homesteading in the first trimester is the worst. So if you're planning on getting pregnant, try to make it so that there's very little for you to do on the homestead. Or make sure you have a partner or a helper, somebody who doesn't mind picking up the slack when you can't do it for the first 6 weeks or so. Because if I was dragging myself out here every morning to milk, I would feel really miserable. It helps to get outside, but it doesn't help to have to be outside every morning no matter what. So it's nice to not have to do that right now. We're actually buying milk. How do you feel about that, Aust?
You can ask me in my interview.
Okay.
This is one of those times where you both as a couple need to be on board with your plans. If you're gonna start a homestead and one of you doesn't want to do anything, you have to at least be on board for times like this. And if you're not, it will not work. Never start a homestead with an agreement that your mate will never have to do anything. Because even if you're not planning a baby and it can happen, you need to be willing to pick up, without being disgruntled about it. A younger, stupider version of me had a much fuller plate. I was working full time and then staying up late at night to produce Homesteady. I was very underslept, not well slept. I don't know how to phrase that. I wasn't getting enough sleep, and then adding on to that all the barn work at the time, having it all on my shoulders, I just was kind of negative about it. Nobody needs that in pregnancy. You don't need a negative spirit all the time. Make sure if you're starting to do a homestead and there's a possibility of babies, make sure that both of you are on board for the fact that in that first trimester, and maybe even more for some people, it might change the workload. And you just got to be ready for that. Got to be ready to step up to the plate and just take it on. So that's got to be on the same page there. Also, if you're planning on adding babies to the homestead, don't grow your homestead too much, because that added workload of preparing for baby means the barn gets neglected some, and if you haven't pushed yourself to the limit, then you'll be okay. Everything will survive and animals would do well. If you max yourself out and then you add a baby to that, that's not going to work out very well.
I hope that by week 10, that chicken likes me.
Get out of here. You're noisy. Get out. Get out of here.
So I'm hoping within the next week, I hope it peaks this week. By week 10, I hope it starts to subside. And maybe by week 11 and 12, I'll start feeling normal again. So yes, while we were on our big 10-year anniversary trip, I was sick most of the time, but I've been taking some Unisom and B6, which are both approved during pregnancy to help with morning sickness, and that kind of takes the edge off. And if I nap 2 or 3 hours during the day, it helps too.
Any funny stories in retrospect?
In retrospect. Funny stories in retrospect? No.
Talk about puking. You don't want to talk about puking.
Yeah, puking's so funny in retrospect.
Puke.
Austin was out hunting the other day and I said, "Come home, I'm puking." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, really." It took him like an hour to get home. So what do you miss the most right now?
What do I miss?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like?
I'm so sick. What do you miss?
Oh, okay. Kay is, the first trimester wipes her out. She is very nauseous all the time. So that means she's not cooking. mostly completely. Once in a while we'll get something. She's not working as much in the barn. The barn, if you can see right now, it's messy, and that's because she's not been out here at it. She's the one who keeps the barn clean and on top of us to get that done, and so there's that. But honestly, what I miss the most is not the cooking or the cleaning. It's my wife not being sick.
You gonna cry?
Well, no. My wife's my best friend, and it's nice when we're, like on our trip, I'm alright. We're, pregnancy hormones. Mwah. She's my best friend, and we have such a nice time together when we go on drives and when we're hanging out at the house and when we're working together. And we still do, but she's so sick so much of the time that it's a lot less.
Do you miss me?
I do. So that's what I miss the most. It's just the nice time with my best friend. But we still get some nice time when she's medicated enough and fed enough. We get just less of it.
I think for us, first trimester is always the worst.
Yeah.
Even over third or postpartum, I think first is the worst.
She's nauseous. I'm adjusting. It's all around just bad. Plus, not everyone in our circle knows. So there's that whole element of like, people like, hey, what's going on? Where's Kay been? And kind of like trying to get out of other extra stuff, saying no to people, but being like, oh, sorry, we can't. We're just a little busy, not feeling great. So by the second, she feels really good. We're smooth sailing. And then the third gets tough again, but not as bad as the first. At least there's no nausea.
Not as bad, yeah. All right, I'm out.
You gonna take a belly picture of me? Second trimester. I'm sucking in my gut. The baby's kicking. Boom, boom.
Great.
Can you take your coat off just for a
If
second?
you're ready, I had it off and I froze.
You froze. Poor baby.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
You
Back
sad?
against the wall.
What?
It's just cute.
It's cute. I'll be able to wear these much longer.
It'll be cute because then you can unbutton them and smile.
Take a couple pictures. Be nice.
Just a wee grape. Oh, grape nut. If you'd like to help us keep producing this show and keep sharing this story, we've only been able to do that with your help. Become a Homesteady Pioneer. It is the #1 way we're able to produce the show. And if you're interested in becoming a pioneer, you can check out everything with the Homesteady Pioneer program. You learn more about it by clicking here or watching this video.